To optimize your camera for pictures in a snowy or beach scene, you may want to set the scene mode, or for more control over camera functions, you'll want to set the camera's program mode instead. You may need to use the flash, in which case you'll want to know more about flash exposure compensation. You might need to use the exposure compensation dial. You'll need to set the ISO, and as always, set your white balance. Let's get started by setting the scene mode. Turn the mode dial to SCN. Now go ahead and press the function button to access the different scenes available. Then use the control dial to move around. In this case, you want to set your camera to the snow scene. This will compensate for very bright situations such as snowy or beach scenes. Then go ahead and press the function button to escape. Now you can go ahead and take your picture. Press the shutter button halfway to lock focus on your subject. Then, press it the rest of the way to take the shot. If you see that the subject comes out a little bit dark, you can use the flash by popping it using the flash switch right here. Once the flash is popped, I recommend pressing the flash button right here, or the right navigation button, and then choosing flash on. This will force the flash to fire. You don't want the flash set to auto. Because this is such a bright scene, the camera will choose not to use the flash because it thinks there's enough light. However, you're just using the flash to enhance some of the shadows on your subject's face. Just as before, press the shutter button halfway, lock focus first, then press the shutter button the rest of the way to take the shot. If you want more control over camera functions, however, I recommend using the program mode instead. Turn the camera's mode dial to the letter P. Much like the auto mode, the program mode still sets the camera's shutter speed and aperture for you. However, it'll give you control over things like white balance and ISO. Again, if you need to use the flash, just pop the flash, press the flash button, and make sure the flash is turned on. If you're going to use the flash, you might want to know about the flash exposure compensation, a feature that's not available in the scene modes. Go ahead and press the function button right here, and then go down to the flash exposure compensation function right there. Now use the control dial to change this setting. At first, I do recommend taking your first picture with this set to 0. That way, you'll know whether your flash strength needs to be increased or decreased. Go ahead and press set to escape. Depending on how much of your frame is actually snow or beach, will determine whether you need to use the exposure compensation dial. If most of it is white snow, what the camera will do is darken down the image, compensating for the extremely bright light. However, since white snow needs to be white, you'll have to increase the exposure compensation just by a little bit. If your image is not mostly snow or beach, you might not need to use this feature at all. However, to use this feature, it's very easy. Turn the exposure compensation dial right here up to +1/3 or maybe 2/3, but probably no more than that. Your setting will be displayed right down here. Now let's go ahead and set the ISO. Press the ISO button or the up navigation button right here, and then use the control dial to change this setting. With this scene, I recommend sticking to auto ISO. Because you have so much light, the camera will really do a good enough job of selecting the proper ISO for you. Go ahead and press set. Now let's set the camera's white balance. Press the function button to access the function menu, and use the up and down navigation buttons to choose the white balance function right there. Now use the control dial to move between the different options. Daylight will give you very accurate color. However, if you want to warm up the tones a little bit in your image, you can choose the cloudy setting. Once you've made your selection, go ahead and press set. Now you're ready to take your picture. Place the focusing square over your subject. Press the shutter button halfway to lock focus. With the shutter button pressed halfway, you can then recompose the image to properly frame it the way you like. Now, press the shutter button the rest of the way to take the shot.